Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today we're going to take a quick look at this 2020 Mercedes Benz AMG C43. And this particular model, if you were in the Shreveport, Louisiana area or nearby, would be a great buy. Vehicle that has been very well taken care of. You might wonder, why would somebody trade in a 2020 so soon? From what I understand, this car was spec'd exactly as you see it by an elderly lady. She took delivery and I guess kept it for a few months and decided she wanted to trade it in on a 2020 S560 or maybe a 550, but it was an S-Class nonetheless. But I believe this thing was very well taken care of. I don't think she got out and stood on it too hard. But as you can see, AMG logo, C43, and of course being the convertible, add a little bit of uniqueness to it because that's not something you see every day. Of course, there are other models on the road, but a very nice vehicle. The black, of course, while it's challenging to clean with the black exterior color, you know what? The big advantage is that if you work to keep it clean or have someone you pay to detail your cars, a black vehicle is stunning when it's as clean as can be. Just a little challenging sometimes. So taking a look here at the front end, of course, very large Mercedes logo here. And while you don't have the Panamericana grille, it just depends on how the vehicle is ordered, you do have the AMG logo right here. So people are gonna know that it is an AMG. Got the nice lines here on the hood, and just give you a quick look around on that. And taking a look here at the headlights, of course, I do like the design, the way everything just flows towards the side of the car. When you look at things like that, a lot of the time you don't realize what's being done. It's intentionally being used to draw your eyes all over the vehicle. That's just the whole purpose of the lines. And looking here, of course, you do have the AMG wheels here on this model. Very, very nice lines as we just take a look down the side of the car. But of course, the main thing here is what's under the hood, being an AMG model. So let's open the hood and take a look. Now, immediately what I like here, of course, this is a 3-liter bi-turbo V6, but I like the fact that you have the red part of this cover here that kind of breaks up all the other black that you have with that cover right there. I like the fact that that really sets this apart. And of course, you do have the hydraulic struts to open the hood, which is always something I personally like to see. Being a car guy, I just think that's a nice feature instead of having to hunt around, find the rod to mount and where it goes and all that kind of stuff. So just a very nice feature. And of course, this is a 4MATIC, so all-wheel drive. That power goes from the engine through the transmission to the 4MATIC system as a 9-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters, of course, and multiple driving modes that we'll take a look at when we get into the interior in just a couple of minutes. And of course, as I just hold down the unlock button here on the remote, I am not going to be driving with the top down today. It is actually in the 30s right now, so winter finally sobered up and staggered its way down to northwest Louisiana, or maybe I shouldn't say sobered up, but it staggered its way down. It took a little time to get here, but it is now officially a little bit cool down here. If you watch my videos regularly, you know that it's been pretty warm so far this winter here in northwest Louisiana, but now is definitely not the time, although, to put the top down, although, of course, you do have the vents in the headrests right here, so you could blow warm air, but I think that'd still be a bit much for me today. But just to give you a look at what this C43 looks like with the top down, of course, a great time to take a look at the back seat. Not much there, and of course the passenger seat is way back. I don't know who was sitting in there, but somebody who was extremely tall, I would assume. But as you can see, of course, you do have the red contrast stitching, the black interior. Very nice interior here. Not a lot of space back there, but not really intended to have a lot of space, being that it is the convertible model. And of course, there is the bi-turbo and 4MATIC logos right there. And while we're taking a look down the side of this model, I will put all the safety features on the screen, and there are quite a few. So we will list those for you real quick. And as we begin taking a look at the rear of this model, how about a quick little exhaust clip? And I'll give you an experience of what emotional start sounds like with this model. If you're not familiar with emotional start, you're going to hold the left shifter paddle back and then start the engine. And this is what you get. And just a quick look here. Of course, you do have the spoiler here on the trunk itself, and you can use your remote to open the trunk. It is a power assisted trunk, but of course, as you would know if you're going to buy the convertible model, not going to have a whole lot of space in here, but not something you're likely looking for if the convertible is what you're interested in. And we're going to take a look here from the passenger side. Hopefully you can see that AMG door sill is a lighted door sill, and of course on the driver and passenger side, as you can see, you've got heated and cooled seats. We may actually use those heated seats today. And 3 different settings for seat memory. And I must say, I really like this particular door trim on this model. Sometimes you'll get the wood grain door trim, but I think that just fits a lot better. If Joe Rady's watching, you'll like this, Joe. I'm sure of that. And just a quick little look here. Obviously, just take a look into the glove box here, show you what's there. Pull that out. A reasonable amount of space there, and of course, as you can see, there is a button for opening the trunk if you want to do that from the interior. And just a quick look here from the passenger side. Do have a decent amount of bolstering there in the seats. We'll take a better look on the driver's side in just a second. And like I said, we'll just take a quick look at the driver's side door. Of course, here are your seat adjustments here. You have power for the driver and passenger, fully adjustable, including the headrest. Got those aluminum sport pedals down there. And again, the lighted door sill. Maybe you can see that a little bit better here. That is lighted. Let's see. I don't know if you can get that with the glare or not, but there's a little bit better view of the bolstering on these seats. Nice amount here on the seat back. Not quite as much on the seat itself where you're going to be sitting, but there is some there if you want to take advantage of that, depending on how spiritedly you drive your C43. Of course, a power adjustable steering wheel, fully adjustable. And just a quick look here, the AMG steering wheel, of course, what you would expect here. Got the flat bottom just to make getting in and out a little bit easier and give it a sporty look, as you do with the center stripe here, so you know where top dead center is when you're driving spiritedly with this model. I love the size of the shifter paddles here. Nice and large, very easy to get to. Sometimes vehicles have these tiny little steering wheel mounted shifter paddles, not big enough in my opinion. And of course, this is what I call the mini trackpad. You can select your way around. In fact, let's see, there we go. Now you can see me doing this actually with everything. Of course, you can hit the home button right there, and you can go in and make your selections just by pushing on that. And not only, of course, for the screen on the right, but also on the left as well. And I like the fact that even though this model does not have the MBUX system, one of the big advantages here, in my opinion, is that when you change the look of the instrument cluster, your selections or your options for doing so actually stay there on the screen. I really like that. Let's see if I can get that to go up one more. There we go. Just to show you what's available. And of course, when you go over here to Super Sport, as you can see, the selections move over to the left, or you can go Sport, or you can go Classic, depending on what you want to do. Not a touch screen, like I said here, but not really a big deal necessarily. It's not that hard to get used to this particular system. But you do have a lot of very nice features and options here. Everything is controlled right here. You've got the wheel you can use. You can see, let's see if I can let you see. I don't know if I can get far enough back here. Yeah, you can see that. See me doing that, and just push down on that to select. Or you can hit the home or back button. And you can also use the trackpad right here. That allows you to just move around with your finger, and then you can push down just like that to make your selections. Of course, you have quite a few little easy selections here too, depending on what you want to do. You can change your modes with this toggle right here. And speaking of modes, let's take a look at what all we have. Of course, slippery, individual, comfort, sport, and sport plus. My favorite, of course, being sport plus. Everything here is actually pretty easy to figure out as far as what's what. Not a big deal. You've got your cup holders here. Got a 12-volt power outlet right there. Of course, the Bombay doors here. Open those up real quick, show you what's in there. As you can see, there's your USB ports, all that good stuff here. A little bit of space in there. But the main purpose, of course, of this particular model is to get out on the road and enjoy driving. So why don't we do just that? All right, we're gonna get started here. And as you can see, just real quick on the screen, guys, you've got the front view camera. So that's a nice feature there if you need it. We'll go ahead and get started on our test drive here. Didn't get to show that earlier in the video, but we'll just kind of cruise down the road here and you can hear the exhaust crackles or the pops from the gears changing in the transmission as I just kind of cruise down the road here. And obviously the further you get into the gas pedal or into the throttle, the louder those pops are going to become. And obviously there are so many things I probably don't even need to say here. I could probably just let you listen and have a good time enjoying that portion of the video, but I'm gonna just slow down a little bit here. And now we can get some good pops out of changing gears. I mean, that is absolutely so fun. Just for me, I really love those exhaust crackles and the pops from the gears changing and just all those benefits of the AMG exhaust. And I realize that on some vehicles you don't get as much as you do in others. It just depends, from what I understand, on the overall length of the exhaust itself. And of course, there are changes you could make if you had an AMG model and said, man, it doesn't have the crackles I really want it to have. But you could actually make some changes to the exhaust to fix some of that. So we'll just accelerate out of the turn here. Just so much fun. And the cool thing about this car is that if you wanted to, you could easily daily drive this model. It would be no problem. I mean, obviously, if you have a big family, yeah, you couldn't do that. Well, maybe you could. It just depends on what your situation is. But for someone who's single like myself, and that would be easy. I could daily drive this car. Although I would probably prefer to have it as a weekend car. But it is just so much fun. And as you would expect, great handling. The steering is ultra responsive. It's just so much fun to drive. You know, just cruising down the road like I am right now, just not stepping on it, not driving spiritedly. It's still a lot of fun. I must admit, I still enjoy driving this little model so much. The C43 is just an overall fun car to drive no matter how you drive it and no matter what mode you drive it in. And one thing I must say, a lot of people don't like these kind of cars because they're afraid of how harsh the ride quality is going to be. A lot of that has to do with the thickness of the sidewall of the tires, how tall that is. The shorter it is, if it has a low profile tire, then what you're going to find is that is going to affect the ride quality and actually make it more rigid. But when you have more sidewall to absorb the bumps and the impacts of driving down the road, it's going to make the ride quality better. So just something to think about for those who may not know. And I realize that not everyone watching these videos necessarily knows all of that information, so I'll throw that out there for your knowledge. But the reason I bring that point up is because this C43, even in Sport Plus mode, is very comfortable. The ride does stiffen up a little bit in Sport mode, but not a big deal. It's not uncomfortable. It's not overly rigid or anything like that. So just overall, from top to bottom, front to back, just the ride quality, the drivability, having a good time just driving around this car, it gets high marks. Nothing I wouldn't expect from a Mercedes Benz AMG model. So gotta say thanks to my friends at Mercedes Benz of Shreveport for loaning me this model for the day. And of course, to each and every one of you who are kind enough to take the time to watch my videos, I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for your time. And remember, as always, tell me down in the comments section what you would like to see me feature here. And if I can get my hands on it, I will most certainly do that for you. Thanks for your time today, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.